same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, just the 7 seas.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any opportunity that I get to talk about mental health, I appreciate it. So thank you very much.
How are you doing today, first of all?
I am doing amazing. It's Monday, and I've had a beautiful, productive, beautiful day. And so, yes, I'm feeling amazing today. And how are you feeling?
I'm doing amazing. First of all, I started off my morning with your motivation mornings.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know why my thing doesn't want to stay still here. I don't know what's going on. Does not want us to have this meeting today. Isn't that something? Have it. It's gonna be okay because we gonna have it regardless. Okay, there we go.
But
yes, thank you for tuning in to those. I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, they're amazing. They're amazing. Okay, so I want that we could just hop right in. How did you mental pain healer? Like, how did that come about? That is something like.
That is something, and it's funny because for me, I've worked in the entertainment business most of my life, and during COVID, I was going through a lot of emotional trauma, a lot. From broken relationships with my family, with friends, with, romantic situations. It just seemed like my life was just falling apart. I was homeless at the time. I was in probably my worst financial state I've ever been at. So a lot was going on in terms of things going the wrong direction. Oh my God, I don't know why we don't want to stay up. This never happens, and you know that.
No, you're fine.
All the time.
Listen,
I don't know, but anyway, so during COVID, it was like God's time out with me. And I had the opportunity to really sit with him and get in touch with my own trauma. And I call that my period of trauma tracing, where I had a chance to go back and trace my traumas to my childhood and then line them up with my adult life to see where there was a connection and where things was going wrong. So during that time, like I said, he took me through a lot of my own personal healing, because I believe that in order for you to be an effective healer, you must first heal yourself. We are always our own first client. So I went through my own healing, and then it was so freeing and so, I don't know, like I just can't even explain the difference that I felt in who I was. It felt like I lost 300 pounds, just felt lighter and felt like I mattered and felt happy again. So it was so crazy because I started hearing this calling to start doing certain things. And I was just like, what is going on here? Like, I don't work in that field. Like, I work in the entertainment business, and I've been in the entertainment business all my life. What is this I'm hearing? So as I just, became obedient, and I just helped God would tell me to take certain classes. So I got 9 certifications.
Wow, nice.
While we were in COVID, I became a certified life coach, a certified spiritual life coach, a Reiki practitioner, levels 1, 2, and master. Wow. I also am a certified meditation facilitator. I'm a certified yoga instructor. I'm certified Ho'oponopono, and I'm also a certified hypnotherapist. So so I went in. Okay, I went in and I just started really educating myself and really getting in touch with how our soul operates with this human body we have. You know what I mean? So it was just really intriguing for me. And again, after I, had a chance to really get all my certifications and become comfortable, then it's like he sent me out to YouTube, and the first thing was with tarot cards, which for me was a little bit strange because I grew up in church, like, and nobody's grandmother more praying than mine. You know what I mean? So that was just never anything I was ever interested in learning to be or get into or any of that. But I'm following the path. And even when I got into it, I was still questioning, like, why am I here, God? Like, why do you have me here? And what I learned, because one day I struggled with that a lot, which is why I don't do it on my channel anymore right now. Because what I was told about my role in the tarot card world was, God said to me, I need battles on all fields. I need my soldiers on all battlefields. I need my soldiers on all battlefields. And there are a lot of lost people in the tarot card world, a lot of lost people, because they get so caught up in what the tarot cards is telling them and so caught up in what the, you know, the readers are saying. And it could be a collective reading that someone's listening to. And they'll start putting that in and saying, oh, that's my story. And, you know, start attracting things to themselves that was never meant to be in their life. But there was also, through me, there was also a lot of broken women who had gone through the twin flame journey or whatever, and they needed to get themselves together. So through the tarot cards, they found me. And when you get a reading with me, it's not about, you know, tarot cards or any of that. It's more of an intuitive counseling session where we dig deep to find out if you're in a relationship and feel like you can't let go. Why is that? What is going on with you? You know, if you broke in and feeling like, you know, you want to give up, my thing is, let's fix you. Let's forget about the other people involved, what they did to hurt you. Let's get you right. Because we're never going to be able to change the other person. We don't have control over them. So that's how this all came about. And I just was like, oh, wow. So, but then again, the mental pain healing thing became very strong on my channel. I don't know if you noticed when I started doing the 90-day challenge, I do the inner child healing seminar. So that just became very important to me. And when I dropped that and started getting away from that and started getting more toward the just collective readings again, it just made me feel empty. It made me feel like I wasn't doing what my purpose is. Because I am the mental pain healer. That is the name that God gave me. You will go out here, be educated, and learn, teach other people how to heal their mental pain. So that's how that happened.
Oh, that is amazing. I can't believe you got 9 certifications. Oh my God.
Yes.
That's
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I enjoyed it too. Every bit of them, every one of them.
Oh my gosh. Behind the eyes of a broken heart.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That is
yes.
like,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
saying that's just so deep, for real.
Yeah, it is deep. It is really, really deep, which is why I chose to do this series, because again, I kind of take my own journey as a catalyst to where I want to take my tribe. You know what I mean? So I'll go through, you know, again, healing is not a destination, it's a journey. So I'm always working on, you know, what I can do next, what we can improve upon, what we can do better. And I'm also paying attention to my own trials and tribulations as well, because they are an important part of my journey. So recently, because of what I was just telling you about, was not feeling fulfilled with what I was doing with my career, what I was doing with my, you know, knowledge that I have to share. I just started to feel like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I not moving in the direction of mental healing and mental pain? Because that's so important right now. And I feel like that's what my mission is in life. Why am I not moving toward that? And what it made me realize is that I was still behind the eyes of a broken heart. Okay, I was still seeing my life from behind the eyes of a broken heart. And that broken heart came from when I was a little girl, and I was born to teenage mom. Okay, teenage, she was 16 when she got pregnant. So what 16-year-old Black female in 1965 wants a baby? Nobody. Okay? My daddy was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. He had more women than Van Camp got pork and beans. Okay? So the thing is that I felt abandoned even in the womb. You know what I'm saying? Like, even in the womb, I didn't feel that connection with my mother. I didn't feel that loving, like, I can't wait for my beautiful bundle to get here type of energy. I felt that anxiety. I felt the stress of someone getting ready to be a disadvantaged mother. I felt the anxiety of being a single mom. I felt the anxiety of my mother not having my father there to help her with me. So all of those things, instead of me feeling the love and the warmth and the excitement of having this beautiful baby that I made and I'm bringing into this earth, I felt just the opposite. Then when I came here, that experience perpetuated itself into a real reality in several ways. And as a result, it left me feeling inadequate, me feeling like in all circles of my life, whether it was in my family, with my friends, in work, or whatever, I always felt I had to overcompensate to be accepted. I had to bring so much to the table for people to accept me, not knowing that I was the whole damn table. And people need to show me what they could put on it, because you know what I'm saying? Like, I bring a lot, but I didn't see that in myself. So I continued to try to prove myself. And then the whole time I was diminishing my own value.
Wow.
I was diminishing my own value. It's like I say to people all the time, if you are a Rolex watch, you cannot sit yourself next to a Timex and expect for people to know the difference. If you sit yourself among the Timexes, quack like a duck, walk like a duck, talk like a duck, you a duck, right?
Right.
So if you are a valuable piece of gem, and you decide that you're going to put yourself among gems that are not valuable, chances are your value will be missed.
That is so crazy, because it's like, because sometimes you really can like spend so much time like, what's my value? Where's my value? What can I bring to the table? What's the value I bring to the table? Like, what can I? And then you realize, oh, like I'm looking for me, like the value.
Yes, you are the value. That is exactly right. And you know, for so long, I stayed in that world because that's the world that everybody else created for me. You know, that's the world that, oh, everybody's like, oh, you're spiritual TT, and you know, you read cards and you do this, and all along that wasn't me. That wasn't the name that God gave me. God didn't say you're spiritual TT. God says you are the mental pain healer. Okay, and so the further we get away from our true purpose, our true identity, the worse things we get. We run right into that tower moment where now our whole world is shook up, because he has to do that to get us back on the right path. And so during that time, I realized, wow, I've been running from who I am and not accepting the real Sherri, even though I have all this jealousy and envy and all this stuff around me of other people who can clearly see who I am, who my gifts obviously threaten big time. I didn't see what they saw. I'm steadily trying to see if I'm good enough to be in the same circles with them. I'm still trying to see if I'm good enough to belong, to even hang with y'all. But they're seeing somebody that they're intimidated and threatened by, but I needed to see that. But I couldn't see that because for so long, I've been looking behind the eyes of a broken heart. Okay? So I said, man, that hit me one day, because I always get hit with these downloads, these beautiful messages, these aha moments, I call them. And that hit me one day, and I said, man, I got to go share this with the tribe. I got to go do a whole series about viewing your life behind the eyes of your broken pieces. And we do it every day and not even cognizant of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you, like, I feel like when you said something, you said that we're all disappointed. And like, that's like a truth that like, we just don't really talk about, but I really feel like all of us are disappointed in something.
Yeah.
And like, that hurt don't go away. Like, how do you?
It doesn't.
But we don't,
It doesn't.
you know, but
You're right.
It hurts to be disappointed, you know?
It really does, because first of all, we have been painted somewhat of an illusion about what life is supposed to be, what life is all about for real. And it's really the total opposite of what real life is all about. Life is full of disappointments. Life is full of people backstabbing you, disappointing you, lying on you, whatever. You know, it's full of those type of things. But the thing that we're supposed to learn how to do is how are we going to handle it. See, you know, you've grown when you can hear bad things about you and they don't faze you. Because what happens when you hear something about you and it phases you, that tells you that you agree with whatever they're saying.
Wow.
Because if you didn't agree, it wouldn't faze you a bit. That's like somebody could walk up to me right now and go, "Oh, she's so short. I'm 6 feet tall." Okay, I am 6 feet tall. So that type of statement wouldn't bother me at all, wouldn't even faze me. In fact, I would probably think they're not even talking about me, because I'm 6 feet tall. I don't agree with that. That's ludicrous. That's stupid. But when someone comes up to me and go, "Man, she would be prettier if she lose some of that weight," that might bother me. You want me to tell you why? Because I personally feel like I need to lose weight. But if I felt good, no matter if I weighed 600 pounds, because trust me, I know some girls who are over what society calls the perfect size or whatever. And yet these women have more confidence than some of the women that trample up and down these supermodel runways every day.
Yep.
So it has nothing to do with how much we weigh or how we look or any of that. It depends on how we feel about ourselves on the inside. And if we don't feel good about ourselves, anything that someone says about us that triggers how we feel about ourselves is going to upset us.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's that correlation is that's interesting though, because sometimes you don't think about it like that. It don't even it doesn't really make much sense logically how that happens.
But that is the truth. I mean, we don't, stuff that doesn't make sense to us or doesn't bother us, we don't even pay it any attention. We throw that right out the window like, oh, that's stupid, or that's ludicrous, like that's so far from me, it's not even funny. But if they say something about you that does trigger a emotion, a trauma, or a situation in your life that didn't make you feel good, then you can tell. And that's why I always use those type of things as a barometer in my life to figure out where I'm at. Because this the whole thing about changing your life is that the first thing you have to do is be willing to transform. You have to be willing to let go of the old you and transform into somebody totally different. Okay, because the old you isn't the real you. The old you is the you that your mother decided you would be. Your parents, your family, your friends, your school, society, you know what I'm saying? But then when we get to transform and find the real us and start living in our real truth, then we start to elevate our thoughts, our feelings, how we see life, all those things start to elevate. And now we're on our path now to living our best life. But then it is important because a lot of us think, oh, I made it, I did it. You know, I got past that. I learned why I do this and I learned why I do this. So we think we healed. I hear a lot of people say all the time, oh, I'm healed. Oh, really? No. We can't use the word I'm healed because we are always healing, always. Until they put 6 feet of dirt over our face, we will constantly be healing. So it's a work in progress, and you got to be willing to constantly self-evaluate where you are, to pay attention to your thoughts, your mind, look at your life and ask yourself, sometimes it's just a good time to just step back and look at your life and say, hey, am I going in the direction I want to go in? Let's just say, like at the beginning of the year, you said, I want to start my podcast. Okay, well, guess what? It's April and your podcast is started. And I'm just saying, just putting this as a scenario. I know you've had your podcast longer than January, but I'm saying if that was the case, then you could be proud of yourself and you wouldn't be upset with yourself in any way because you said you would do something and now you're doing it. But it's the people who sit back, you would be surprised. I have friends who I've talked to for the last 3 years, and for the last 3 years, oh, they about to start this business, man, and it's going to be this and it's going to be that, but they won't take that first step. It's always lip service to it, but no, it's all talk and no walk. And you don't get nowhere like that. It's the same thing with our life. You got to stay cognizant. Where am I? Okay, I said I wanted to be a doctor, but I haven't enrolled in one school yet. Where am I? I said I wanted to be a lawyer. Let me go to school. I want to be a hairdresser. Let me enroll in that school. Let me get started on that. Let me start practicing on my friends and my daughter. Let me get started. Just don't talk about it. Be about it.
And like, how have you like relationship with the truth? Like, what's your journey with the relationship with truth? Because I feel like sometimes it's possible to have like almost like rose-colored glasses on to protect you, and you could be like in full-on danger, but because you have that lens over like a glaze over your eyes.
Yes.
It's like interesting.
So that area where we start to suppress. Okay, so a lot of times the biggest step to getting our life on the right track is to accept first that it's off track. How many people do you know when you hear people, someone comes to you upset and they want to tell you about an experience that just happened in their life? How many times do they come to you and go, girl, let me tell you how I just messed up, how I just caused the whole tower moment in my life? No, they don't do that. They come to you and they go, girl, let me tell you how so-and-so just tried me. Let me tell you how they disrespected me. Let me tell you how they did this, how they did that. That's what we do. We don't sit there and realize that everything that happens in our life, we invited it. Everything that happens in our life, we invited it. No, good, bad, and ugly, we invited it. So when we accept that truth, then that's when we on our way to our real healing. But most of us aren't even cognizant of our problems.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we had to talk about this on a show not too long ago. It was a relationship show, and somebody asked me, well, what happens when somebody doesn't know that they're the problem, when they really aren't aware that they are the problem or that they have a problem? And I said, well, the first thing you do in situations like that is take a look, step back. Again, this is that self-evaluation period. Step back and ask yourself, how is my relationships going? All of them, your relationships with your people you work for, your relationships with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends. How's my relationships going? And if you're getting along and, you just got a few problems here and there, then the chances are you probably okay with how you're doing things. But if you falling out with everybody, you can't get along with nobody. You be on a job 2 or 3 months and then it's a problem and now you on to the next job. You ain't never had a job more than 6 months your whole life. But yet every job you've been on was the boss's problem or the co-worker's problem, or they wasn't paying enough, or they didn't have benefits, or they took out too many taxes, or they didn't let me go on vacation when I wanted to. It's always something. So the first step with accepting truth is accepting that we aren't perfect and that every human being on this earth came here with a cross to bear. Jesus Christ had to come here and deal with the things that he had to do. Who do we think we are? Who do we think we are that it gets to be different for us? That, it's like the Bible says, weapons shall form, but your belief has to be that they shall not prosper. But he didn't say that they wouldn't form, because they will. They will form. So we just have to be in that mindset of being willing to accept responsibility, because accepting responsibility is the first step to you getting your life back on the right track. Because everything that's going wrong can be changed with your mindset of accepting that, hey, I've been allowing people to disrespect me. I've been wearing a mask and not being my true, authentic self. I've been walking around here saying what other people want me to say rather than what I want to say. I go to work on this job every day, not because I want to, but because that's what society tells me I have to do. Or I'm living in this big house because I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses, and I'm driving this car because that's what my neighbors drive, and I need for them to think that I'm making the same money that they make it. It's just so many things that we're dealing with in our head that don't matter up to nothing. Okay, because at the end of the day, you tell me how much that money worked for people like Whitney Houston, Prince, Michael Jackson. Okay, go on and on and on with these suicides that these very famous rich people have done. But yet we think, because we don't have money, that that's the answer to everything. We think fame and money is the answer to everything. And I don't know if you saw Will crying on TV last night. I even shared that on my Facebook page today, because I was like, man, no one knows what it feels like when God gives you a mission and puts you to where you're about to shine, okay, and your light is going to be brighter than a lot of people's around you. You open yourself up to so much. It's like a cave of demons open up on you, and you're forever having your name tarnished. You forever having people stabbing you in the back. You forever have people talking about you. You ever have people judging you, people hating on you, lying on you. Like, I'm telling you, that is
God bless them.
Oh,
God bless them.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that ain't no joke. I deal with that all the time. And I'm telling you, that sends me to bed crying some nights. Because especially when you know you're a good person and you don't have any ill intentions for anybody. I'm not trying to sit here and paint to anybody that I'm perfect, because I make mistakes and I do things just like everybody else. But some of the hurt and the pain that I experience from people who say they love me, it sometimes just really trips me out. It really does. And it sends me to bed sad some nights, because I'm human, just like everybody else. Sure, I know how we're supposed to handle all this stuff, and I get how life works, and I'm probably more advanced in the mental health thinking than most people, but that does not remove the human element for me.
Like, what's up with like envy? Like, what is that? Like,
Oh, I'll tell you where that comes from. It goes right back to behind the eyes of a broken heart, okay? People who are envious and hateful and jealous of other people have the most broken hearts you've ever seen in your life. Those are the people who never felt important. Those are the people who probably never even heard, I love you that much as a child. Okay, those people are the type of people who feel like if they're not on top, they're not winning. And that comes from never feeling love, never feeling accepted, never feel like you belonged. And I've seen it over and over again with people who have that tendency to be jealous and envious of other people. They are the most broken people ever. They are the most broken people ever, because if you, it could be, let's take you as an example. Okay, you could have easily looked at me and said, I don't know who she thinks she is. Who is she to be on here talking to people about mental health? We don't know her. Who is she? You could have easily said that. But what you said was, hey, I like what she's saying. It makes sense. I can connect with her. Let me go and collaborate with her and see how she and I can work together. But there are a lot of people in your position who look at me and want to stay as far away from me as possible because they are afraid of the light that I shine.
so the light, it really is a thing. It's really there. Like, you can really see it.
Oh, yes. And it's not my fault. I didn't ask for this light. Okay, none of us do. I didn't ask for this light. I didn't ask for the gifts that I have. These were the things that I was chosen to do. But what I need for everybody else to understand is I'm not privileged. I'm not special. Because just like he gave me a light in this arena of mental health, he gave you a light. He gave Lisa and Tim and Kathy and Karen. Everybody has a light. Just like we all have a cross, we all have a light. But if you're not shining your own light, you are intimidated by other people's lights.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. And when you are broken and operating behind the eyes of your broken heart, you don't realize your power. You don't realize your light and because you're too busy focusing on everybody else's power and everybody else's light. I mean, let's go back and talk about the movie Selena. Did you ever see that movie?
I did see it. Yeah.
What does that tell you? This woman loved Annie, but at the same time was so jealous and so envious of what Selena had that it killed her. And trust me, it happens to us every day. We may not be dying of physical deaths, but all of that constant chattering and all of that constant hearing what people are saying to people you've done nothing to, it hurts. It hurts.
And I really feel like the qualities that you see in someone, you possess. Like,
Yes.
I really feel like that's a truth. Like, and so it's so interesting because everyone who's envious, you have the same qualities. Like, and I imagine and I hope that there's a world where like everyone has more of an opportunity to do what they truly like to do. Because maybe that will cancel out some of that energy, because we lived in a society where like only a few got to have the camera on them and they were famous and they're the stars. And everyone's kind of just sitting back like, okay, we're just cheering.
But you know what though? Here's the thing about that though. There is nothing different between Beyonce and Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson and Taylor Swift, and I could go on and on and on. They got the same 24 hours in the day as me and you. But guess what? They chose to take the 24 hours in their day and grind like nobody's business toward a goal that they wanted. Okay, either they did it or their parents did it. Because in people's cases like Beyonce, her father was relentless about her becoming famous. He sacrificed his house, his job, and everything to get her there. So this is the thing I've been trying to talk to people about all year. It's having that millionaire's mindset. Being a millionaire's mindset is not just talking about the money. It's talking about, to be a millionaire, you got to be extremely strategic. You got to be extremely in tune and in line with yourself, okay, to be able to manifest that kind of money, okay? In order for you to manifest anything, it ain't about marketing. It ain't about how much money you got. None of that. It's about where your mind is. Do you believe that you can achieve this? Do you think that you are worthy? Do you think you deserve whatever it is that you're going after? Because we sabotage ourselves by placing limitations upon ourselves. Ain't no limitations on you. You could become the next Wendy Williams. You can have your own national talk show all over the world if that's what you want. And then when you decide that's what you want, then you don't take nothing that takes you off that path. If one thing I would encourage everybody to do is to go watch the movie King Richard, the movie that Will Smith was talking about last night.
I have to see that. I haven't seen that yet.
Oh my God, you got to see it. You got to see it because that movie changed my life. Okay, that movie got me with the morning show right now. Okay,
yeah.
Yes, it does, because what it did was it showed you a man. Okay, in this movie, and this ain't a spoiler because there's so much more. But in the movie, he went to his wife and he said, "We need to have 2 more babies, and here's what I'm gonna do with these 2 babies. From the time you're pregnant with these babies, we're going to start talking to them about becoming champions, okay? From the time they get here, as little babies, we're going to talk to them about being champions. We're going to talk to them. We're going to teach them how to be a champion. We're going to make them walk like a champion, talk like a champion, smell like a champion." Girl, when I said kids didn't know nothing outside of tennis. Okay, because they father made them eat, sleep, and breathe it. Okay, listen. He would go to country clubs, girl, in these tight knit shorts with baseball socks up to his knees. Okay, looking a hot mess, walking on to these country clubs with these billionaire white men. And he was like, "Look, I got 2 champions, and you need them." And someone would laugh at him and be like, "Yo, man, whatever. Get your black behind back here in the kitchen." I'm saying that's how they was treating him. But he didn't care. He let them laugh. He let them talk about him. He was taking his daughters to this tennis court in a neighborhood that was very dangerous. Those thugs down there in the neighborhood was beating him up, but he didn't stop. And I see, like, I had a millionaire's mindset, bring your own business seminar right at the beginning of the year to teach women how to march into making $1 million. And nobody ain't nobody who signed up for that still doing anything. But that's how we do. We get caught up with everyday life, and then we start letting the problems with the boyfriend take us off track. We start letting problems with the job take us off track. We start worrying about the bills, and that takes us off track. We start worrying about COVID, and that takes us off track. We start worrying about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, and that takes us off track. So you got to stay ironclad focused to become famous and to become a millionaire. Those things ain't given to the weak or to the mild. You have to be relentless. You have to be so freaking disciplined. Okay, you got to make yourself get up. If you plan on whatever it is, I don't care what your goal is. If you say I'm gonna be a developer by the end of this year, then you need to, every day you need to be looking at and making 15 things on your list that gets you closer to becoming that developer every day. How many people you know do that?
Not a lot of people do that, for sure. It's a habit too. I would assume.
It is. So it's not that, you know, some people were made to be famous and some people weren't. That's not the truth. Any of us could be famous. Any of us could be rich. Any of us could be anything that we desire. But the first thing that's got to start is our mind. Because if your mind is telling you that it ain't happening, it can't happen, it won't happen, you're too young, you're too old, your credit is bad, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough support, you don't have this, you don't have that. If you keep listening to all those things are going to stop you and stagnate you. But if all you got to do is keep telling yourself, I am going to be blah, 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 and every time it will happen. I didn't even know that I had that power until one time my sister said to me, Sherri, have you noticed that every time you say you're going to get something, you get it? And you know what? It was crazy because I became a manifestor at an early age and didn't even know it. Because I would just be like, I'm going to get so-and-so. And I wouldn't know how in the heck I was going to get it at the time. But every time I would get it.
That's crazy.
No matter what it was. But in my mind, I had trained myself to believe that if I say it, it can happen. And so I have that real belief. You can't tell yourself something if it's not a true belief. Because like some people say, oh, I'm gonna win the lottery. I'm gonna win the lottery. And then all they doing is focusing on how broke they are, how they can't pay the bills and how they might get evicted and how the repo man might show up. How you gonna draw in millions of dollars if you thinking about the lack of $1?
Wow. You said the lack of $1.
Yeah, but you talking about you finna manifest $1 million of them.
I love the way you put words together.
Yes. So it's life can be challenging, and it's meant to be that way. You know, we've been sold this whole American dream, especially us Americans. We've been sold that, you know, we are free and we can come over here and live life. We're supposed to be happy and we're supposed to get married and have 2 kids and eat apple pie and play baseball and live behind white picket fences. And then the kids just keep that going and everything's wonderful. Well, let's all take a real look. That ain't what the hell has been happening in America. Okay, we get robbed, bamboozled, effed, and led astray. Is what's happening in America, okay? So to wake up and to figure out how to get this thing right. We got to figure out, and it's like I said in my message today, that when we heal and we help our children to heal and all the people around us to heal, we get to live in a life where we're not afraid anymore. So we don't have to worry about somebody doing mass shootings when we send our kids to school. Or we don't have to worry about sitting in church and we all dying because somebody comes in with a gun. All of that stuff stems from somebody viewing life behind the eyes of a broken heart.
It comes right back to that broken heart. Like, yes. Okay, so I heard you said in order to be successful, you have to become successful. And I thought that was really, really powerful because like a lot of times, like you hear people say like, oh, I could tell she gonna be, you know, I could tell they gonna be this, they gonna have money.
Yeah.
It's just like, but what if you already have it? Like, what if you have it now? Like,
right.
You're gonna be waiting a long time. You wait a long time for that, you know? Like,
right.
This is very interesting because if you become successful now, and if you have it now, then you don't got to wait for when they say that you're gonna have it in the future.
That's it. That's exactly right. It's a mindset again. You can't listen to what other people are saying. You can't do it. Like if you look at all rich, famous, successful people, these are all people who defied the odds of what other people said they could and couldn't do. That's all it is. Think about Michael Jordan. What did his coach tell him? You'll never play basketball. And yet he is still one of the most famous basketball players in the world. The man been retired at least 30 years. And we still sitting outside of Foot Locker every time he got a new pair of shoes coming out, like we had a water shortage, okay?
You said, that's crazy.
It's crazy. But what if he had listened to his coach? What if he had listened? What if he had listened to that coach who told him, you'll never play basketball? What if he had listened to that person? We would not be standing in front of a Foot Locker. We wouldn't have the jumping man on all of our shoes. None of our kids would know anything about the Michael Jordan, one of the most famous people in the world. But he was told, you will never play basketball. Not that you can't, but that you will never do it. And he defied every odd and knocked that right out the park. And this is what I say to people all the time. We don't have to let our circumstances or what other people have put in our life determine where we're going. You know, you might have grown up in a house where you heard your mother tell you all the time, oh, you're nothing, you ain't gonna be nothing, you're gonna be like your sorry daddy. You know, we hear that a lot when we grow up with single moms because they angry at daddy. So when they get the opportunity, kids, I mean, they have control over us. So they can say what they want to us with no repercussions. So they think. But those repercussions are not only damaging, but almost irreparable. Okay, because you take that attitude of you ain't nothing and you just gonna be like your sorry daddy along with you on into your adult life. And every time you go out there and start trying to conquer something, you start having that voice ringing in your head that reminds you that you ain't nothing and you gonna be just like your sorry daddy. And the more you tell yourself that, the more you believe that. So now you start to attract situations that equal that.
Wow, that's deep. I feel like a lot of like things stem from the mistreatment of kids. Like,
Yes.
something I've been realizing is like, wow, like
Yes.
we have like no respect for like the children, you know?
Yeah. Yes. We come here as children. We are made of love because that's what God is. God is love. That's all God knows. He's love, period. And so that's what we made of. But then we get into this womb and get introduced to these things called parents, and we start getting introduced to all the things that equal everything but love. And we don't know what to do with that because we've never been introduced to that. We've never been introduced to this thing called life. So now what do we do with, we're supposed to be loved. You're my mama. You're supposed to take care of me. You're supposed to nurture me. You're supposed to make sure I eat, make sure I'm dry, make sure I'm good. And if you're not doing that, my soul is going to be disrupted trying to figure out where is the disconnection here? Where's the malfunction here? Because something ain't properly functioning right, because this is the mother who's supposed to love, care, and protect me, not put me in the positions of feeling like I'm nobody, feeling like I'm not wanted, abandoning me. That's not what mama's supposed to do, but sometimes out of love, that's exactly what we as mothers do to our children. Not even realizing it, because hurt people hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a very bad childhood when it comes to the relationship with my mother and my father. And when I started to go through my own healing, one of the things that God showed me was that my mother and father could have never been any better to me because they didn't know how. They gave to me what was given to them. And then if you go back to their parents gave to them what was given to them, and their parents gave what was given to them. And it's a cycle. So this is why you hear people talk about one person in the family being able to break generational curses. And it's not generational, hexes or spells like a lot of people think, but a generational curse is a behavioral thing. It's a behavioral pattern that's repeating itself that ain't serving no damn body. Because if you grow up, and to give you an example, I grew up in the house, and I saw my father beat my mother. I saw my grandmother get beat by my grandfather. I saw constant bickering and constant fighting, in physical and verbal fighting in my family. So when that happens to me, when I met a man who came to me with verbal and physical things, I didn't think he was crazy. I didn't run from him or notice the red flags that I should have noticed, because those things have become the norm for me. If you grew up in the house with the Huxtables, where mom and daddy didn't do nothing but kiss on each other and make a little love, and everybody's happy, and we at the dinner table, we have breakfast together, we have dinner together, we sit around the TV and we laugh and talk together. And then if some man comes up to a woman like that and hits her or verbalizes her in any way, she's going to run for her life, because she's going to think this man is off his rockers, because she's not used to that type of behavior. She didn't grow up like that. That hasn't become a norm for her. That equals crazy to that person. Well, it should equal crazy to all of us, but because I grew up with it, it wouldn't equal crazy to me. It would equal the norm, because our reality becomes our perception.
Ooh. Our reality becomes our perception. Oh, that's deep. And that's so true, because like like the idea that there's a base reality, and then we all have our own perception, but outside of our perception there's still most likely like a base reality, but
Mm-hmm.
we all see life through our own perception, and it's so
Right.
interesting. That is
Yeah,
interesting.
it is. And I mean, because you and I, like, let's take this for instance. I grew up in a house where my mother said chocolate is good for you. It's got this in it, it's got that in it. And you grew up in a house that said, no, chocolate's not good for you. It's got too much sugar. It's got too much caffeine. I don't want you eating that. So now if you and I got into a debate as to whether chocolate was good for us or not, who would be right?
Both.
Exactly. Is you got to learn that in life, it's not about being right, but it's about being happy. If my perception is I don't eat chocolate, or I love chocolate and I eat it all the time because I think it's good for you. And if you say, well, I don't, because in my family, we were told that it wasn't good for us and it could cause, and then why am I getting mad or trying to force my opinion on you rather than allowing you to have whatever opinion you chose to form? And that doesn't make you wrong and me right, or me right and you wrong. It's our perception, because you've been taught that chocolate was good and I've been taught that chocolate was bad. But does that mean that either one of us is right? No.
It's really crazy, because like you could feel a way about something and you can have a position on it, but if you hear anything opposing outside of you, you may change your position.
Right.
But the truth is that if you felt it, it was right.
Absolutely.
Like, and it's not no one else's business. Like,
absolutely. And if that's the way you want to feel, don't even argue with nobody about it.
Yeah. It's just that's
so your
crazy.
truth.
That's crazy. Because
that's your truth.
Yeah. 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 I heard you talking about your own worst enemy, and I thought that was really interesting. Like the way you were piecing that up, like being your own worst enemy. Can anyone hurt you outside of you if you're not hurting yourself first?
So yes, there is a such thing as being a real victim, and that comes when someone robs you, someone tries to physically harm you, someone tries to rape you or something like that. You are then in fact truly a victim at that point. But in situations where you get heartbroken or you feel disrespected or you feel unwanted or any of that, that's all self-inflicted. That's self-inflicted pain right there. Because it's like I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they had been triggered really bad by a situation, and they wasn't seeing it. They were seeing what they wanted to see. And I kept telling her, I was like, I need you to see this a different way, because what you're explaining to me doesn't cause for the type of reaction that it caused you to have. This girl had a total meltdown. I'm talking about a total breakdown, meltdown. And the reason that she told me that she had it, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. So I said, this triggered something. Let's keep digging deep. Let's keep talking about this until we find out what it is this triggered inside of you. And because a lot of times we are afraid to feel pain. We are afraid to hurt. We are afraid to feel heartbroken, which makes us continue to be hiding behind the eyes of a broken heart. Because if you heal your heart, it's no longer broken. And now you're marching in a way that serves you rather than walking in a way where you're ignoring red flags and walking yourself right back into the same old pain over and over again. We keep doing the same old things, expecting a different result. And that's crazy. If you keep on acting the way you act in relationships, you're going to get the same result. And that isn't because it's the other person's fault. Until you learn the lessons that you need to learn, the people in your life are going to be simple templates. Nothing about them will change except their name.
Wow.
The behavior that they bring to the table is going to be the same as the last relationship, the last friendship, the last boyfriend, the last job, because it isn't them, it is you. And until you fix that problem within yourself, you're going to keep drawing that problem to you over and over and over again, constantly playing the victim and blaming somebody else, when in fact, you are the problem. And I love to do this thing called the mirror exercise. And that was one of the things that God had me to do when he was healing me. And in the mirror exercise, whenever something happens to me where I feel hurt in any way, because hurt is the barometer used to decide where we are, how we feeling about something. And most of the times when we get into arguments with people about something, it's because we say we've been hurt. So when someone hurts me, whatever that is that they do, instead of me going and saying to myself, oh, I'm mad at Diane because she did blah, blah, blah to me. No, I go look in the mirror and I say, you know what, Sherri, I'm disappointed in you because you allowed Diane to disrespect you. You allowed Diane to put your bowl on the floor. You allowed Diane to not put you where you belong. You'd allow her to dim your light.
Wow.
Because when you know who you are, you start building healthy boundaries around you. Mm-hmm. And you don't let nobody do nothing to you that don't make you feel amazing. Okay, because I got to this place in my life where I learned that I would no longer be tolerated. Celebrate me. You have to celebrate me. Okay, don't tolerate me. Celebrate me. Because when you celebrate me, you are what I need around me. You are pushing me to be my highest self. You are uplifting me. You are encouraging me. You are not jealous of me. You are proud of me. That's what happens when you celebrate me. But when you tolerate me, you don't even like me. You jealous of me. You envious of me. You don't like nothing going good for me. You praying against my demise. You going and putting me in freezers and trying to freeze me up and do all kinds of things to me because you're only tolerating me because you're afraid to get off my boat because you think it's going to sail into paradise and you want to be there when I get there.
Oh, you be saying that thing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm saying in my life. Celebrate or get out. Okay. Because I don't want to be tolerated. I only want to be celebrated. And I know how to celebrate Sherri. So if people around me don't want to participate in my celebration, then you can bounce. And there won't be no hard feelings felt. I'll send you off with love and pray for you every day. But I won't allow you to be in my energy and suck up my energy and drain me and take away from my ability to accomplish the things that I need to accomplish. Because haters drain you. And on purpose.
That's the truth. That is the truth on purpose. That's the scary part about it.
Okay? On purpose, they drain you. So no, not up for that.
So when you look at yourself and you admit that you're disappointed, like the journey, like just how can you forgive yourself? Like
That's a good question. I'm really glad you asked that question because the thing about forgiving is also, see, there's two of the biggest things that we need to learn in life. Number one is forgiveness, and the other one is unconditional love. Okay, unconditional love, because all of us know how to give conditional love. I love you if you do this. I love you if this is happening. I love you if you make this much money. I love you if you 6'3". I love you if you got a Coke bottle shape. I love you if you got your own natural hair. But what is that unconditional love that says, I love you even when you're 20,000 pounds overweight? I love you if you lose all your hair. I love you if you can't fit through the front door, because I love you. It's not about how you look, how much money you have. It's you I love. So when it comes to unconditional love and forgiving ourselves, it comes with first falling in love with yourself again, because most of us are not in love with ourselves. We say we are, but we are nowhere close to being in love with ourselves. And how do I know that? Because I look at the quality of life that we're living. People who love themselves, it shows. Like if I got money, do I need to tell you I got money? No, because you're going to be able to look at my environment, how I'm living, what I'm spending, what kind of cars I'm driving to tell whether or not I got money. It's the same thing with happiness and anything else. If I'm running around here telling you I'm happy, but every time you see me, I'm drunk as a skunk, am I telling you the truth about my happiness or am I leading you on? There's no way in the hell I'm happy and I'm drunk all the time. That's impossible. So the thing is to start to really love yourself. It starts with self-love, really, really loving yourself, because once you go back and embrace that inner child, the one that had to endure all of this pain, the one that had to suffer all the iniquities, when you can go back and talk to her and start apologizing to her for all the things that happened to her, you don't need the people who perpetrated against you to do it, because they may never do it. But you can go back to her and you can tell her, look, it's okay. I got you. I'm a grown woman. And from this day forward, you and I are going to be okay. It's not your fault what happened to you. Whatever that was, it's not your fault. But I'm here now. I'm the adult Sherri, and I'm going to make sure that me and you are okay. And we're going to do this in a healthy way. And therefore, any mistakes that I've made, I can now forgive myself, because I now know why I made these mistakes, because I was hurt. And I was suppressing pain. And when someone would trigger me, it would make me hiccup that pain, but I didn't know how to deal with it. So what do we do as human beings? We go into either fight or flight mode. That's what we do. When someone triggers us, we either ready to fight or we ready to get the hell out of Dodge. But either one is unhealthy, because we are supposed to be able to deal with whatever comes our way without fighting or flight. But we have to get to that place of self-love first. We have to get to that place where we really, really love ourselves. And then we can say, you know what? I made a mistake back then, but that ain't the end of the world. Everybody makes mistakes. We all make mistakes. But I forgive myself for that mistake, and I learn from it. And now I'm going to keep moving. But when we don't stop and have that conversation with ourselves, we have what I call the guilt syndrome. And the guilt syndrome eats away at your soul, just like a leash at your skin. It's just constantly eating away at you. And this is the thing that keeps us going back to the alcohol, going back to the drugs, going back to overeating, going back to toxic relationships, because we don't want to deal with what we suppressing. We don't want to deal with the pain that we put away in that little Pandora's box that we don't want nobody to open up. We don't want to deal with that. So we keep self-medicating. We keep doing things to keep our mind off of it. But when we can stop and be real with ourselves and say, hey, because I went through this situation, it caused me to make bad situations when it comes to this. And once you know better, then you do better. But I think we get into the guilt part when we know better and still don't do better.
Yeah.
That's where the guilt comes in. And then that's where we're unforgiving of ourselves, because then we start getting hard on ourselves, saying, you know better, and you keep doing it anyway. And you know better. So that's where we have to stop and say, okay, I know better. Now it's time to do better, but I'm not going to be hard on myself. I'm going to be easy on myself, because I had it hard. I came a long ways. And so now I'm going to make it through this without beating myself up. Because you can't beat yourself up for nothing that's happened in life. We all make mistakes, and we're going to continue to make them. Sadly enough, you're not ever going to be mistake-free.
Yeah. Always make mistakes. That's the truth of it, huh?
Yeah, that's the truth. So we might as well learn how to deal with the mistakes, because they're not going to go away.
And it kind of made me think about something. So when you're younger, like when you're younger and you're triggered, you don't know how to regulate your emotions. So is that where impulses come from as you get older, because you are trying to regulate that feeling?
Yes, when you're triggered, that's that trigger. That's that trigger I was just talking about. So when you feel that, when someone starts tapping on that door, that opens it up to that pain that you didn't want to talk about, that you didn't want to deal with, now you're either going to become very defensive with that person. Just like I said, you're going to start fighting, because that's what defense. Okay, defense and offense. That's two people going against each other. Okay, so you're going to become defensive and try to stand your ground and explain why you did something or whatever, or you're going to just become very complacent and leave because you don't want to deal with it. And if that person is constantly reminding you of something that you don't want to remember, you're just going to leave. But when you become mature, and aware of your mental status and where you are. And when you feel triggered by that, what I learned to do is to respond rather than to react. Because when react, it's quick, it's off the rip, it's coming from the pain, it's coming from the hurt, it's coming from the trauma, the triggers when we react, because it's quick. We didn't think. We just came out with a defense. But when we respond, that means that we've taken a mature step back to see what's the best way to handle this situation. Then we can respond in a more mature and a more caring and a more loving way with a solution that works for everybody.
Okay. Reaction versus responding.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep. Okay. Oh, this is so good. Tease the pain away.
Yes, tease the pain away, transform, elevate, and self-evaluate the pain away. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that? I love that.
You know what? A lot of people ask me that. And I'm going to say downloads, mental downloads. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious about this mental pain thing. I really am. I truly believe that mental health is the new wealth. I really do. I see people, aspiring to be like Jay-Z and Beyonce and Kanye and Kim and Barack and Michelle and this one and that one. And my thing is, when you can show me two people who've gone through their inner child healing and cleaned up their shit and realized that they're responsible for their own happiness and not their spouse, now that's a power couple to me. Two people who have realized their own self-worth, who know that they are responsible for their own happiness. They know that a person in their life is an accessory and not a necessity. Okay, so that's how I see that. But when with the tease, how I came up with that is, again, I just was coming up with a way. I wanted to coin my own coaching style. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to come up with my own coaching style. A lot of people, they come up with their own, things. And this was what I want Sherri Hill to be remembered for. And I had it trademarked and everything. So that's being trademarked. Well, I will become the official TheTeaseCoach with the little trademark on it and everything, because that is something that I wanted to take, and it's Sherri Hill's mark on mental pain. Because I believe that if we are willing to transform, then we will automatically start to elevate. And as long as we take the time to continuously self-evaluate, then we have nothing to worry about. We have absolutely nothing to worry about. So that's where that came from. That's how I got that. And I just love it. I love it.
Love it too. I wrote it down. I said, oh, that's just has a punch to it, something about it. And so, okay. So I know that we're like at our hour, so I don't want to hide you too much. But I just have one more question. So when you were talking about guilt, and how it's possible that someone can just end up feeling so guilty that they're just like, there's just no way I'm coming back from this.
Right.
So at that point, would it just be logical to just kind of hang up the whole fake persona? Like at that point, can you just say, okay, I just got to hang this whole identity up and just start over?
I mean, that would be the right thing to do. But guilt is that same thing that makes Miss America jump off 22 floors and kill herself, okay? Guilt is what makes people get on phenamine and overdose. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So it's the guilt of what they've done, what they've experienced, and thinking that they're responsible for it that makes them feel inadequate, unnecessary, suicidal, okay? So that would be the right thing to do, is just, hey, every day is another chance for us to start anew. We fall down, but we get right back up. When a saint is just a sinner who fell down, okay? It's just real crazy. So we cannot get mad at ourselves because we have failures. Bad things do happen to good people. That's just the bottom line. So we can't get mad at ourselves when we have failures. We can't get upset when life doesn't work out the way we're supposed to. Maybe there's a better way. Maybe if you took that detour, you would learn that there's more on that road for you than on the road you thought you was heading toward. We just got to be willing to take the good with the bad and keep rolling with the punches, okay? Because they're going to come. But you got to be strong in your conviction, because this thing called life, it's not for the weak, baby. It is not for the weak. You got to be strong. You got to have that strong walk with God, because your faith and your strength with God is the only thing that will pull you some of your darkest moments in life. It is the only thing that will pull you through it. Is your faith of him always having been there for you, always being on your, having your back, always never letting you down. Because if we could talk about all the people we've experienced in life, but I know my own personal experience. After 57 years of being here, he ain't never let me down, okay, ever. And so even though he ain't never let us down, here's the crazy thing, because we can't put our hands physically on God, we still question his existence. We still question the miracles that he's capable of. We still question him. No matter how many miracles he's performed for us, we still, because we can't put a face or an energy to it where we can actually touch it and feel it and see it, and we still question it.
That's where that faith comes in.
That's where that faith comes in, and that faith will get you through all the greatest trials in life. I don't care what they are. I don't care what they are. Faith will open those doors that no man can, that no man can. It's just, that's the way it is. And so I encourage anybody, if you're going on a healing journey, take God with you. Go surrender, go sit down and go talk with him. Talk to him just like you talk to me, and let him know what you want to accomplish from be transforming your life, how you want to elevate, what you want to become. And he will help you to get there. I ain't saying it's easy, but it's possible.
Oh, I'm so grateful for you. Like, thank you so much for even
yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And so you emailed me 2 days, you emailed me a day back, 2 days back. I said, what? I love that. That was awesome. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching you through the screen. I found you like 3 weeks ago, right before you set up your channel. So I'm new, but I saw a couple of your videos prior, and I was just like, oh, just something about your energy, the way you put your words together, and just your story, and how vulnerable you are with YouTube. Like, you're so vulnerable.
Yes.
Like, you really have me really feeling some feelings. Like, it's amazing. So I'm so appreciative. I'm appreciative.
Well, thank you. Welcome to the tribe. We love you. We welcome you. We all about healing and learning together. You know, I'm right on that journey with y'all. I don't see myself, I'm the leader, because there always has to have a leader in every tribe, but I'm still right there with y'all. I'm growing, I'm improving, and getting myself together right along with y'all every day. So each one of my subscribers, I appreciate y'all, because I know you don't have to be there. You can go across YouTube and find many people saying the same thing I'm saying. So the fact that you felt my energy and you want to stay, I appreciate that big time.
Yes, and I just ask that you continue to do what you're doing. And I'm really excited to just see you develop, because of everything that you've shared with your community. I just imagine that you're only going up from here, So I'm really happy for you. I'm really appreciative of you. Seriously, thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much. And the only up I care about is heaven.
Yes.
That's the only up I care about. I mean, like, honestly, like, I don't do this for, the fame, the money. I do this because I actually love it. I actually love what I do. So thank you again for having me. I appreciate you big time. I appreciate every chance I get to speak to people about mental health. So thank you so much.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of you for this hour.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
I look forward to following you too as well, because I see big things coming in your future. Big things. So you stay positive. You keep doing what you're doing. Stay on that path, because I see good things coming for you.
Thank you so much, Sherri. All right. I hope this ain't the last time I talk to you, but
I hope not either. I hope not either. Stay in touch, please. You got my email. You can email me. I'll give you my cell phone, whatever. Let's keep in touch for sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sherri. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.